I just broke the national record again last week, and I threw 53.78 meters.
Before that, you broke the record of fame. Maybe Andrew can provide background on that later. Who was the previous record holder besides yourself? Because you broke the.
Yeah, the previous record holder was Laurelie Amahit-Simona, and I think the record was 50.55. I mean, Laurelie has had 2 bronze medals in the SEA Games over the span of her career. I think she finished 7th or 8th in the Asian Championships. Yeah, that basically was the previous record holder of the women's hammer throw. But Laurelie threw the record when she was about 28 or 28 or 27. Obviously, Shiloh has a long way to go in terms of peaking because in women's events like the throwing events, your peak years are usually in your late 20s, early 30s. Unlike in, say for example, in sprints where you usually prime at around 25 to 28. In the women's hammer throw event, in the throwing events, you can prime even into 30s because it's like in an event where you just keep kind of getting stronger. Whereas in sprints, you lose elasticity and like speed as you get older. But in throwing events, you can really peak, like in those later stages.
Yeah.
But Shiloh, when did you start throwing competitively?
I started throwing for like fun. I threw shot put first, and I was like in grade 5. And I only started doing track because Zion started doing track. So I just did it for fun. And then when I was in grade 11, I picked up the hammer and I picked up discus as well. And it was really fun. And I was like getting recruited by universities in the States. And I was like, wait, I can really like go far with this. And I started seriously training in it. And then I started lifting like seriously as well. And now I'm here.
How many kilos are you now? Just for the record,
My
pounds.
weight,
So,
oh,
yeah,
pounds, I'm around 185 pounds ish.
185 pounds. How tall
How
are you?
tall are you, Shiloh? What's your height?
I'm 5'8".
So, and still growing. That's nice. Because
She's still growing, hopefully.
but I mean, yeah, it's good for throwers, right? Because the more you get taller, the more I know a little bit and get to play sports, right? So the more the momentum and the, the bigger you get, the more, of course, power and strength
Yeah.
you type to play. And do you watch your weight? Do you have to maintain a certain weight to remain competitive in your
Um,
sport?
for me, I discussed this with my coach, but I feel the fastest at the weight I'm at now. Like I don't feel weak, I still feel strong and I can still be explosive and fast. So it's basically just maintaining that and like gaining like muscle mass and strength as well while keeping like flexibility.
So 185 is your ideal throwing competitive weight based on your coaches and of course in the age right? Uh, of course, your your sister who had competed for the Philippines. What would that mean to you if you were able, of course, you met qualifying standards in the bronze so far? You think you can still go higher over the next few months and break another new record?
Hopefully I have conference championships next week. So I've been training to like really get my body in tip top shape and hopefully hit the qualifier for the SEA Games then. And then if I make regionals, which is like all the schools in the West Coast of America, hopefully I can make regionals. Um, yeah, so that's the game plan right now is to hit the qualifier at the next upcoming meet.
Only in the 100 throw or in all three events? The
Um,
distance of distance.
I think I'm more likely to hit in the hammer. So like shot put is my second best throwing event. So it'd be nice to get 2 events in, but I'm not gonna be too mad if I don't make it for shot put either.
You're
But
pretty close to the shot put standard. I mean, I'm looking at it. It's like 1330 or so. It's 1330 something for the shot put, so it's not too, it's not too far away in
Yeah.
terms of. I think it's 1335 off the top of my head. I know it's 1330 something. It might be 1332 or 1335 for the shot put.
all
It's pretty
right. I'm just looking at the current records in the hammer throw in 2019, and of course the entry level or the bronze level is 55-64. So that's about based on your practice level, shallow. You still about almost 2 to 3 meters. 2 to 3 meters. Do you think you can make that particular 55 current current 55-64? Do you think you have a chance in a crack at it? Anyway, it's still in November.
Yeah, I think I absolutely have a chance. It's in there. It's just I have to hit positions and stay low. So if my game plan for the next meet goes correct, I could probably hit 55 meters. Yeah.
Very good.
After this meet, would there, like, say for example, after this next meet, you have conferences next week? Are there like other possible meets coming up which may be out of season?
Yeah, there's other like club meets around here and like meets where I can compete open and not like
Yeah,
attached to my school. So those are just like my default plan to like join those and just keep training after conference if I don't hit it then.
awesome. Yeah, I was just asking. I know that you're at UC Riverside, and I can't. I don't. The name of your coach escapes me, but I know it's a female coach. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, because like that female coach and coach Sean McGinley, the two of them both guided Caleb Stuart to the SEA Games gold medal in 2015, and honestly to a what is still a Southeast Asian record of 68.66 meters in the hammer throw. So I'm guessing you're working with the coach that guided Caleb, to that next level. Would you be able to tell us what sort of training you're doing and what a typical training days would be like?
A typical day is I usually have practice in the morning, and on hammer throw days, I throw hammer and discus on the same day. So it would be hammer practice for an hour and a half, and then an hour break in between, and then discus practice for an hour. And then right after discus, I walk to the weight room and I lift for about an hour and a half. And we do a mix of like Olympic power lifts and like really specific throwing position lifts so that we get a power transfer from the weight room into throwing. And then we do conditioning right after.
What would you say would be your staple Olympic lifts in the gym? Like which lifts are you mainly doing in terms of Olympic lifts?
Power cleans and snatches.
Yep.
Uh, we did clean and jerks for a little bit, but I stopped doing them because I hurt my shoulder a little for a while last year. So I just did cleans mainly.
What sort of weight are you like lifting in the cleans?
I maxed out at 195 pounds for power cleans.
Yeah,
And
that's,
that's
it's pretty good. It's above body weight.
Yeah.
Is that for reps or is that for one? That's one rep max, or is that?
That's my max. And then for reps, I
Yeah,
think I can do for three, I can probably do like 180.
yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, have you been doing Olympic lifts very long, or is this sort of like your first year or so? Or
I learned how to do Olympic lifts in grade 11 for rehabilitation because I tore my ACL. And so I learned how to like properly lift to get my legs strong so I won't hurt my knees again. So I knew how to
yeah,
technically do it, but this was the first time I like actually like added the weight and like did it for weight and not just like 10 reps or like a lot of reps.
so with other weights, are you doing more squat, deadlift, leg press, or which out of those sort of the sort of heavier legs type of stuff, which is more of a staple?
Oh, definitely squats. We did a lot of squats this year and last year.
How deep do you guys go when you do squats? Do you go?
We have to at least hit parallel, but I always make sure to go a little bit before parallel so I don't get disqualified when we max out.
So about three quarter squats. So
Pretty,
not quite to the ground, but sort of halfway between the ground and half squat parallel.
yeah.
Cool. Okay, Bong, your turn.
No, we actually tried lifting Olympic weight for the clean and jerk and snatch, Shiloh. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
like all types of Olympic lifting.
Okay. Just again but 185 kilograms is equivalent. Pounds is equivalent to how many kilos?
100.
85 pounds to in kilograms. Because I'm trying to determine in what weight division
You want the
you
conversion in kg of the lifts?
83. That's not what the sheet 100. So the sheet is 80 kilograms. So that would put her in what? Because weightlifting. I'm just taking a look at the weightlifting at the Games 2019 season. Because actually that's a heavy thing. You would be in the women category. You're too heavy. 82 kilograms. You only have 71 kilograms. Although you might be able to be eligible in the other weight division if you so high, if you so high. But
Yeah.
anyway, that would be putting too much to borrow fun. Putting too much weight on you. Just concentrate first on your throwing event. So, what made you gravitate towards the throwing events? And unlike me, of course, you're much stronger than your sister. What made you attracted to this throwing event, Shiny?
Oh, at first I did sprinting when I was younger because I just wanted to be like exactly like Zion. And then I like saw people throwing and I was like, that looks so cool. I wonder what that is. And then I started throwing shot put more and I was like, I'm way better than this than running at all. And then so I did shot put for a really long time. And then in grade 11, I like watched people throw hammer and I was like, hammer looks very hard and I really want to try it. And it just like stuck with me ever since. It's like I think it's one of the hardest like
Yeah,
technical throw. And so I
correct.
really like master it or maybe not master it. I really wanted to get good at it. And so I just stuck with it. And I like it better than the other two. So
So, in other words, it gives you a thrill as well as the high of competing in the
yeah.
hammer throw. The technicality for.
Mhm.
Uh, you said already that you're hoping to see action with your ate Zion in Hanoi, and 55 for you is not. Uh, how many meets are you this outdoor season? How many meets are you expecting to compete in competition?
Um, I'm at the end of my season, so I have one more meet left. And if I don't
Okay,
hit the qualifier, I'm hoping to sign into like more open meets so that I can hit it.
all right. Wow. So okay. Uh, anything else, Andrew?
Yeah,
So
I was going to ask, uh, Shiloh, did you do any other sports? Like, Zion, for a time, had a stint with basketball. Did you follow that path as well?
Yeah, I played basketball like pretty much my whole life up until like grade 12. I wasn't that good at it, but I liked playing it and it was really fun.
What position did you play?
I was a post.
oh,
Okay.
okay. Sure. To me, center. Uh, or in our parlance, big woman, literally.
Yeah.
Just trying to make you smile. So it's 65. Again, how many more competitions are you up to again? Left in your season?
I have one more for school, and I think after that, there's like 3 open competitions that I can join in.
Okay, so in other words, 4 competitions to make the grade in the bronze of 55. Just again for the benefit of our listeners and what what viewers. It's about uh, there you go,
I think
55
it's
something.
55.96. I think
Yeah,
off the top of my head. It's 55 something. I know it's 55 something, but um, I'm just gonna check.
yep, you're correct. It's
55.64,
yeah.
not 96, 64. So yeah, it wasn't 55.96. It was 55.64. So that's a bit closer to the
With
to the
4 competitions to go, I think it's a pretty realistic goal. And given the motivation to compete for the Philippines, how would that mean to you? Competing for the mother country of your mom, Shiloh.
That'd be really fun. I've always wanted to compete for a national team, and Philippines is perfect. I've been there multiple times. I even competed there one time in the city of Iligan, and it was really
yeah.
fun. The team members are really fun, and it'll just be a great opportunity. And I've never competed on the same team as Zion, so it'd be really fun to be on the same team as her.
What year was that in the National Open?
I think it was 2018. I think it was
How
2018.
and it was pretty hot, as you very well know. It was
Yeah.
summer in the city. Uh, where do you like to compete conditions? Cold or cool conditions? Of course. Which do you prefer?
I like competing when it's hot.
You like competing
Yeah.
because in Hanoi, it might be a little bit, in its slightly high altitude in Hanoi, it might be a little bit cool.
Might be
So,
more like
huh? Cool only, cool. Not only, no, it's not only, because it's in November, my friend. So, it's a little bit cool. Maybe about, not baggy weather. I don't think it's baggy
about
weather
20
like,
degrees.
yeah, but yeah, relatively. So, that could be. Uh, what other words do you know in Filipino? Shiloh, just for to
Oh,
lighten up.
words in
Yeah.
Tagalog. I only know like salamat po, like thank you, and that's about it, honestly.
Okay. Uh, your favorite Filipino food?
Food, I like sinigang. I love lumpia. Actually, no, my favorite food is lumpia.
Yeah. What, the fresh lumpia or the fried
The fried
one?
lumpia.
All right. Lumpiang one with the bean sprouts or with the meat?
With the meat, and I also like Jollibee. I always get spaghetti there and chicken away. And
Just a note for you. Actually. Yeah.
yeah,
Joking, just joking. Uh, is your school near Jollibee Joint?
yeah, it actually is. It's like 30 minutes away. There's a seafood city there, and then I get barbecue chicken too.
Okay. Uh, that's nice to hear. That's nice to hear. But are you allowed you cheap time to go over there and at least satisfy your cravings for Jollibee, and chicken, and spaghetti?
Sometimes I go down there and I buy all like the seasoning I need to make Filipino food at home.
So you know how to cook? Wow,
Only
you
the
know
simple
how.
stuff my Lola taught me or showed me the recipes.
All right. So sinigang, what else do you cook? The
I
Filipino.
know how to cook tinola. Chicken tocino is a little too hard for me, but it's also one of my favorites.
Uh, how do you keep in touch with your family on a regular basis, like chat or Facebook, etc.? Do they
Yeah, we
keep
have a family group chat that's like we constantly text in the family group chat, and then I'll FaceTime my parents almost every day. I think I FaceTime my parents. And then I meet up with Zion occasionally. She's only like an hour away from me. Mhm.
uh, who's your coach now at your
Coach
school?
Candace Fuller, that's her name.
Uh, uh, how much have you, since you're practically a freshman, how much have you learned since uh, transferring to this freshman school? Like
Um,
in technique, in terms of attitude,
Yeah, technique wise, so much. I've developed so much since freshman year. It was kind of like a shock because I was like, I'm throwing this implement or I'm throwing the hammer completely wrong. So I had to like relearn my whole technique. And now everything's just like finally falling together. Attitude while competing, my attitudes change while competing. I used to want to like get in and just like throw really far, but now I know that's like I just have to do my own thing, not really focus on anything except like the two. I usually pick two technical things to focus on during competition. So if I just stay and think about that, my mind will be relaxed and my body will be relaxed, and I'll just have a good meet. But once I start thinking about like throwing far, that's when I tense up and I can't really like perform the best.
so execution for you now is more important than the actual competition or
Yeah,
thinking about who you're facing. It's
yeah,
good. That's a good mental technique so that more or less you're focused on your own goals and not the goals of others.
mhm.
Being a freshman, how do you cope with the pressure?
With the
In pressure in competing, being a freshman.
being a freshman, it's also kind of a shock because in high school I was like always top three. I was always like the best, I guess. But then when they come in freshman year, it's like I have to start from the bottom and I have to prove myself and like work my way up. And so it's just been like that whole process of like working hard and like just keeping my head down and not really caring about anything except like developing. So that's how I handled freshman year. Now it's like now that I'm a second year and this is my second year of like official training, I'm just doing the same thing, just working hard, keeping my head down, focusing on what I have to do to be successful.
Uh, what's the biggest lesson you've learned so far? You've overcome the lessons. Yeah, being with this highly competitive school, especially in athletics.
The biggest lesson I've learned is I think I've said this before, but like just picking two or three things to focus on and just like as long as I can complete those, like I'm good. Like I don't have to focus on like external things, just what I want to do and what's good for me. Just focus on those, and then I'll be sure to be successful just doing that.
Uh, how does Shiloh juggle her academics and her athletics?
Athletic,
That's a bit tough, right? Because you're an athlete scholar,
yeah.
you have this program all for your athletics, and you have to hit the book. So how do you juggle this?
I think growing up playing two sports like competitively, I've learned how to like manage my time well, and it's carried over to like college. And so I always make sure to like go to class on time. Obviously, practice, I have to go on time and just like give myself like scheduled blocks and like always write down my schedule so I know what it is. And I schedule everything. Like I even schedule like when I eat and like when I have like phone breaks and stuff. So just like making a timetable and sticking to it is probably my best strategy in managing both athletics and schoolwork.
How is school working?
With online school, it's been pretty tough at first, staying motivated, but I'm pretty acclimated to it now, so it's pretty easy. Um, Most of my university has been online anyway, so it's
Are
like
they
not.
to go back to face-to-face classroom studies there anytime soon? Because in California, uh, they we've been reading that it's been opening up bit by bit. Do you expect any actual classes, classroom classes?
They've been talking about opening it up for the next fall. Pretty much everyone's getting their vaccines. I'm fully vaccinated,
Congrats,
so yeah.
congrats, congratulations. Yeah, that's nice. You have another layer of protection. When was your last vaccination?
My
When
last
did
vaccine
you
was
get?
on the first, May 1st.
Okay, so when we yeah, it's good for you. And how does that affect you mentally, physically? The fact that you're vaccinated now, and the fact that you can go out. So how was it for you? Your vaccination experience?
I still try not to go out as much as possible. Like I pretty much only leave my apartment when I have practice and when I just need groceries, because even though I'm vaccinated, it's still like good to be safe and still like social distance, obviously. Um, I when I practice, I try to keep my mask on. Even though we don't need to wear it, it's just like I just feel more comfortable with it on. And yeah, nothing's really changed after being vaccinated.
Zion has been vaccinated already as well. Right?
Yes, yeah.
What is it, Pfizer or the other?
We both got Moderna.
Ah, you did that. Oh, that's okay. Uh, so you're expecting when we say in the fall, it's around September or August, right? Am I correct?
School here starts around September, yeah.
And the will will the school by the grace of God and you make grade to qualify for the challenge station games. Will the school allow you to compete in November? If that happens, both of
Uh,
you and
yeah, I've already been talking to my coach about it, and she's modified my training so that if I qualify, I still can like peak at that time and get like good marks and not be like in the preseason still for training. So she's already like set for me to go and then even encourages it. And I think for school is just I have to send like a notice to my professors that I'm like away competing.
at least just a positive attitude will still make it. And we great to
Mhm.
fight to make it to the national team for Hanoi, considering that it's going to be a challenging one because it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be fun. I tell you. Andrew knows that we've been covering the challenge station games for quite some time. It's going to be a fun.
Yeah.
And you say anything else?
I'd like to just say, like, the difficulty with athletes in the Northern Hemisphere has always been the different seasons and, the commitments to the US college. And it's a bit easier for guys like, for example, Eric or um, who else did we have before, or PJ, who had already graduated from college, to be able to, go to these meets in Asia and represent the Philippines. For myself, coming from New Zealand, which is a southern hemisphere country, it was pretty easy for me to get ready for nationals because our season started in October, it finished around New Zealand nationals about March or April, and then the Philippine nationals is in May. So I just have to just basically bounce off the New Zealand nationals at the end of March to the Philippine nationals, which were usually at the beginning of May. So my coach just needed to prolong my training by about 6 weeks for me to sort of mini peak at New Zealand nationals and then peak bigger at the Philippine nationals, which was for me more of the priority because New Zealand nationals was pretty hard for me because I was competing in the junior division there, but it was still New Zealand was pretty competitive. Um, I was going to ask, uh, with yourself, where do you see your goals are for the sport, say in 5 years from now? I'm guessing after you're done with college, if you're still sort of improving.
Mhm. Well, after I'm done college, I'm probably gonna stick with lifting. It's definitely a favorite of mine, Olympic lifting, and just keeping my body in shape. And depending on the marks I get in the future, I might stick with it and go professional if I perform well. But
Okay. Yep.
sorry, I'm more focused on like getting my degree and getting a master's and making like a
Yep.
career plan for myself as like a default.
Mm. Uh, okay. Another question is, who's the strongest hammer thrower you've competed against so far?
Against her name's Cameron Rogers. She goes to California, Berkeley. She just
Yeah.
hit the Olympic standard and she's a senior now. She's a fourth year. And
Does she
she's like
represent the US?
no, she's Canadian.
Ah,
She even lives in the same city as where me and Zion grew up. So it's like a local, like I've seen her grow. She's actually one of the reasons I even started throwing hammer because I watched her throw hammer and I was like, that looks really cool.
how old is she?
She's a senior at Berkeley. So I think she's
So
like
she's
22.
2 years older.
Yeah, she's 2 years older than me actually. She's 21.
So that's still relatively young for a thrower to hit the Olympic standard, isn't it? I mean, what does she throw? Like, did she throw in the 60s?
No,
I'm guessing.
she's the only girl like right now in college who's throwing like 73.
Oh God.
And the
Well,
drop,
like throwing against athletes of that caliber prepares you well for the Sea Games because there is nobody in the Sea Games throwing 70. I mean, you've got the girl from Thailand and the girl from Malaysia who are throwing 62. So, if you're already used to competing against the pressure of competing against somebody who throws 73, then you'll probably feel comfortable competing against somebody who's throwing, say, 60 meter range.
yeah, she's definitely prepared me for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So are there any other high caliber throwers that you've been sparring with at the in the collegiate meets?
I went to a UCLA meet and there's a girl from UCLA who throws all three like me and she's throwing like 68-ish in hammer, like pretty
Yeah.
far in shot too. But yeah, I've thrown against her a couple times in indoor last year and then just at this UCLA meet. And it's like I always find myself in awe when I see them and I'm like, okay, snap out of it. It's time to like be serious and
Just
throw
got to
now.
do what you got to do. Like I mean, you just got to throw the best that like compared to yourself. These other athletes, honestly, they're throwing a lot further, but it doesn't mean that you still can't, you know, like continue to improve your
Mhm.
performance.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I find it exciting throwing against them. It's always
Yeah.
nice too because like they're just people I look up to as well. So it's really cool to compete with like your mentors kind of.
Yeah. Bong, do you have any more questions?
No, I think we've exhausted. Well, that will continue praying that you make the grade. As you said, it's 55-64 is the qualifying mark, qualifying mark, and I think the for me still, um, and with your current progress, current progression, we believe and pray. So see you in Hanoi, China. See you.
And
I see it as a real positive though that the Philippine record was 50.55, then it was 50.63, then it was 52 something. I can't remember exactly 52.36 or 20 or something like that. Then it was 53.86. So I mean we're talking quite a substantial improvement on the national record of like from what it initially was to a further 3.3, 3 meters and a
And
bit onto what it was, in a very short period of
yeah,
time. Yeah,
the meter is 20, so that's relatively speaking approximation. So, and you're just 2 to 4, it's about 6 to about 7 feet. kind of maybe fun for competition to go in your schedule. Um, by the grace of God, then maybe. And of course, seeing you together with your older sister would be quite an experience. Right?
Yeah, it'd be really fun.
It would be both of you. Last time we saw sister siblings in the Southeast Asian Games, of course, it's Kyla and Kayla Richardson. Do you still have interaction with these ladies from time to time?
Yeah, I think it's Kayla. One of them goes to University of California, Irvine. So and they're in the
Yeah,
same conference as me. So I see her like pretty often.
Anything else, Henry, before we
no, I mean, it's been wonderful chatting with Shiloh, and yeah, just thanks very much for putting some time aside. It's been a good 40 minutes. All the best for your meet next week. I mean, we're pretty happy seeing these improvements. They're pretty good improvements in a very relatively short amount of time. I mean, it's, like there's still quite a lot of the year left, so we hope you do really well.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so that concludes today. We're just thanking everyone for watching. Thanks to our guests, and also thanks to Mr. Bong Pedralvis from the Malaya for co-hosting today. All right. So to everybody watching, have a wonderful day, and God bless.
God bless you all. And thanks, Andrew. It's a pleasure
Thanks.
to be. See you in Hanoi, Shiloh. By the grace of God. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. So yeah, that's all we have time for today. It was been a wonderful guest and an exciting young thrower from the Philippines in the years that come by to watch for with Shiloh Corrales-Nelson of the Philam Group. Thanks everybody for watching today on this pleasant Saturday. We have more exciting coverage to come up in the next week or so, and some breaking news coming later today regarding some performances. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and all the best.